Good morning, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. We are at property address 7224 Southeast Yamhill Street here in Portland, located down the basement up against the front foundation wall, going into a 4-inch cast iron cleanout. Although it does have a plastic cap, it's cast iron. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Water is running. We're going to zero out here at the base of the cleanout, and off we go. Transitioning to 6-inch clay pipe here. At the main here at 52 feet, we're going to go do some locating. Got a few things to cover as we come back here. Alrighty, located the camera head successfully. Line terminates out on Southeast Yamhill. The line here is doing basically a dead straight shot, end to end. I did put a marking down. You've got a fracture at the end of the pipe here. Pretty good size one. You know, and that's certainly open to the ground, although it might be packed with a bunch of grease buildup. Amazingly, the pipe has not shifted a whole lot, so it's probably got packed with grease buildup. It's probably what's keeping water from escaping to a severe extent. That is in city territory, though, so that's out in the roadway. So, but what I'm noticing here on the way out, you've got a root intrusion at just about every pipe joint. Luckily, right now, not doing much to affect functionality, but roots nonetheless. The big concern, especially nowadays with the advent of epoxy liners, is you don't want to let these things just sit and wear out to the point where those joints, especially with roots through them, or the joints that have given out, where the grout's worn out, start to suck dirt and groundwater through them, and then lead to hydro erosion. What ends up happening is the line will settle to an extent over time that you can't do a trenchless update on them. But you've got roots getting out here all the way to about 40 feet. We also have a very likely, I don't know if it's still active or not, but you do have a party line connection here at about 37 feet. We're going to go locate that really quick here. The joint just in front of us you've got some level of offset there. You may also have a fracture at the top of the pipe. It looks like you've got roots that are punching straight through the sidewall. None of it's affecting flow right now, but this is one to get figured out. Here is the party line connection, and I do believe this is going to, luckily, I think, remain on property, and this would likely be deemed the host line, not the guest, but we're going to go locate and see here. That, at the end of the day, is really a decision that's up to the city. Alright, we have made contact with the neighbor next door, so they're going to flush the toilet for us here. And I did mark that. I'm picking this up right in the kind of gravel curb strip area where the trees are planted, adjacent to the driveway. You'll see a green white marking. And just given the direction this comes in here, Most likely it would be the neighbor to the left of this house. That's as you face this home from the street, from Yamhill. Sounds like the neighbor bought a house recently, so it's entirely possible this has been separated at this point. We'll let this thing sit here for a couple minutes. All right, I can audibly hear a toilet flush shooting down line here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see some water shooting through that Y in just a moment. All right, so we do have an active party line here with the neighbor directly to the left of this house. So I did put a marking down there. Where I'm picking all this locate up here, again, the line runs straight, so everything here looks like it remains on property. So most likely, at least in my experience, the neighbor would likely be deemed the guest on the line, and this would be the host line, and that the host usually has the best chance of being able to remain. So as far as repairs go on this thing, because the line has kept its slope and grade, you have to do this in conjunction with the neighbor, because you can't go sealing off their pipe until they're ready to deal with that. But because you have slope and grade here, you've got some options. You could burst this thing, you could do probably sleeve it with a rigid hard pipe, or you could also do an epoxy liner, any of those options, or you could just do the good old-fashioned traditional way of digging things up. But because of the level of deterioration and issues we got with the line here, I would recommend a full update to all pipe that's on property. You've got root intrusions, bad pipe joints, the whole bit, which is not weird to see at all at a line this age. There's a lot of this I can't do a lot of locating with. We're in the front yard area, up where the yard's built way up above the road. I'm kind of leaning into the bushes there, but it's so overgrown right now, you really can't even put paint markings down or read them, but you're going to be probably in the 13-foot depth realm. This tie-in here is small diameter. It's right where I would expect to see a storm system connection. Very normal to have that. That tie-in there is not a concerning one. I'm hoping right about in here is there's only about one spot before I hit concrete, so I'm going to try and put a locate or a marking here. I'm using green paint. The line runs dead straight. It's very easy to figure this thing out.
So it's
All right, just located here just out from the house. I'm getting around 7 feet deep there. This is one of those I would recommend relocating before digging. I expected to get a deeper depth than that up in the front yard area. But it could also just be a combination. Visually, it looks like that when you stand out there, but it might be the way the line's grading combined with how the property is built up. It may very well be that depth. My locates are coming in clear. They're not coming in jumpy. So the cast iron here is intact. It's in fair condition for its age. No buildup. Now there's a little bit of wear and tear in there, but that is still very much doing its job. I would recommend all clay pipe on property within homeowner responsibility be fully updated. If you do any type of, however the repair is done, I highly recommend, if you can, take that transition from this pipe to the old pipe at the curb, take that just barely past the street curb, even if it's 6 inches to a foot. Those transition joints are by far the most likely ones to get root intrusions through them, and if you can put that transition just past the curb, if it ever does happen, it's in city responsibility and not in yours. It's a little pointer I would give to you. Anyway, after any repairs are done, I recommend rescoping the line to check the work. It's very important to do that. And you want to do that if you're doing a trench style repair after the trench is closed. Rescope it in general though.